And then as I look at the rest of this list and see the money getting bigger and larger, I just scratched my head at one of them. And he only played 85 games. And that's Zion Williamson. But he's got a 5-year, $193 million deal. Could go up to the Supermax of $231 million. 85 games he's only played. So I don't understand why the whole entire bag is being thrown to him.
Yeah, TikTok, I'm just rolling on the block. Marisa took me, heard that. Pocket show about to start. Heard that. You should know if entertainment is your goal. You talking sports or travel, yo. This the hottest pot show. Heard that. She got her shoes, everything she says is truth. If you don't know, now you know. All you ever gotta say is heard that, heard that, heard that, heard that, heard that. Look, all you ever gotta say.
What's up, Heard That Nation, listening in the United States and around the world. You are now with me here on Heard That with Marisa Tigney podcast. I'm your host, Marisa. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button so you stay in the know of all future episodes that are coming up. Yo, it is going on right now. Free agency frenzy going on in the NBA. We had a whole lot of different sports that's going on. Your girl's been on vacation for a little bit. It's so good to be back on the microphone. I got some amazing guests that are going to be coming up in the future episodes, as well as your girl's hitting the road on a couple of events that's coming up. I'll talk about that at the end of the show. And the best thing that I watched this past weekend, and of course, one of them, if people have followed me on Twitter, knows that I love me some UFC, some MMA, and the card was loaded this weekend. So I'll get to that in a moment. But let's just talk about all this money that's happening right now. It's amazing connecting with so many fans of sports in the NBA, baseball, and all of that. And there was so much going on that was happening with the NBA. We had the NBA draft, and thank you for everybody that blew up the inbox of, did you like your Detroit Pistons and who they picked and everything else? Well, number one, yes, I did. Jaden Ivey, welcome to Detroit. Backstory real quick. His mother, Niall Ivey, played for the used to be WNBA team, the Detroit Shock, that won 3 titles with coach, legendary legend himself, 2-time NBA champion Bill Laimbeer, who played for the Detroit Pistons. And I gotta say, the apple didn't fall far from the tree when it came to her son. Amazing talent coming out of Purdue. He was a force in the tournament as well as regular season in the Big Ten season. The Detroit legacy runs deep in that family. So he wanted to come to Detroit. He loved the city of Detroit and how he just fell to number 5 for my amazing Pistons. I'm very excited about the upcoming season coming up and seeing how that's going to unfold. We had some additions that added on there. We had Kemba Walker for 48 hours, and then, we bought out his contract so he can move on. I believe we added Nerlens Noel, which is a head scratcher to me because I really thought that Luka, his name is slipping my mind. Why is it slipping my mind? Because I was so devastated. Luka Garza, that he was doing well in the Detroit affiliate G League, and he was released, unfortunately, but somebody hopefully will pick him up, and I know that he's going to be an amazing addition. And shout out to his dad, Frank Garza, who I have talked to on occasion and hope to have him on my podcast, but they are moving on. And I wish somehow that they would circle back and just see the talent that we all saw. He was incredible in the college ranks in Iowa. And then, he did play a few games in the NBA, but he did majority of the work in the G League affiliate for Detroit Pistons. And so good luck to him moving forward. Just curious who's going to end up getting him because they got a diamond in the rough. So they'll see the talent. But all of these signings that have been happening in the free agency has been just absolutely nuts. And some of them, I'm like, okay, yeah, they deserve the contract, the money. They're going to be absolutely outstanding in this landing spot, or they're staying where they're at. And in a couple of them, I'm just scratching my head, why are we giving them the bag of all this money for most of the season that they didn't even play? And y'all know who I'm talking about, and I'll get to that in a second. So the Dallas Mavericks here, and I live in the city of Dallas, are still mourning the loss, obviously, of Jalen Brunson, who they couldn't get the deal done. He goes to the Knicks for 4-year, $104 million. Was a key factor in the playoffs for the Dallas Mavericks this past season, along with Luka Doncic, as well as the rest of the starting lineup. The thing that is it talked about was one of the news affiliates. I want to say either the Bleacher Report or some news affiliate said that the Mavericks were quite upset that the news leaked ahead of time that he was signing with the Knicks instead of what they could try to work out there with the Mavs. So it did not work out. He goes and he signs a 4-year deal with the Knicks, but the Dallas Mavericks are getting a veteran, a 3-time NBA champion in JaVale McGee, a true center, 3-year, $20.1 million. And people need to realize, he could still get up there in range. He's got length. His mother, shout out to Miss Pam McGee, WNBA legend in her right. He still has the height. He still has the length. He still has the drive to win. He's only 34 years old, and people are sitting there, talking about online, he's past his prime and everything else. Then you obviously didn't watch a whole lot of basketball this season, because he can still ball. He can still get up there, even though if they start him off with a bench, because they'll, try to find another point now that Jalen Brunson is gone. And Dallas Maverick fans majority of them let their angst know online when Goran Dragic did not sign with Dallas. They thought that was going to be a sure deal, like a 1 or 2 year deal, and he ended up signing with Chicago instead. So Goran Dragic would have been a great addition to the Dallas Mavericks lineup. Didn't get the deal done, so we'll see what Mark Cuban has up his sleeve as far as, getting that replacement for Jalen Brunson. We'll see what he does with that. And then as I'm looking at the rest of this list, you got Anthony Simons, who stays in Portland for a 4-year, $100 million deal. And then you have the money getting bigger of Darius Garland. He's staying in Cleveland, 5-year, $193 million deal. Now it could go to the supermax of $231 million for him. And then, of course, Ja Morant. He loves Memphis, loves the city. The people love him. He got a 5-year deal, $193 guaranteed. Could go up to $231 million. Been with it, and it feels like he's been in the NBA forever, but it's only been 3 seasons. You saw that amazing run that Memphis had, and they got a postseason run in them. They just need to get the right pieces surrounded their now star. I don't want to say a future star, but it's now their now star, Ja Morant. And they did pretty well when he unfortunately went down with a knee injury, just that they met that, now reigning NBA championship team, the Golden State Warriors, and they lost in 6. So, to seal Ja Morant in there, guaranteed a 5-year deal, that's amazing for Memphis, and Memphis fans should be happy about that. And then as I look at the rest of this list and see the money getting bigger and larger, I just scratch my head at one of them. And he only played 85 games, and that's Zion Williamson. Now, again, I give him the benefit of the doubt. He's been in the NBA, 3 years, 4 years now, and he's only played 85 games, but he's got a 5-year, $193 million deal. Could go up to the supermax of $231 million. 85 games he's only played. We've known so much for his injury. The first season he didn't play because he had that horrible injury at the end of his college career there at Duke. I'm sorry, not at Duke. He was when he was playing in the preseason games, and then ended up getting injured. And then it was out for majority of that first season. So I don't understand why the whole entire bag is being thrown to him. And immediately when the discussion was brought up on Twitter, especially when this deal was done and it was posted and it was announced by ESPN, Adrian Wojciechowski, everybody immediately thought of 2 things: Portland Trail Blazers and Greg Oden. When the Portland Trail Blazers threw all that money at Greg Oden, and then the injuries unfortunately derailed his career. Knee after knee after knee, and then so many ones after that, derailed his career. And so people were comparing that, putting all that investment into someone who hasn't played a full season yet. And so we see the potential. We see that he can, that he is a big body right there at the basket and can do so much and block shots and all that. The question is, how long can he stay healthy, and how long can he be a factor for the Pelicans is the question. So New Orleans is taking that risk and putting all that money and investment in him. We'll see how it goes. I don't understand the amount of money that they're giving him for only the short amount of time that he has been actually healthy or somewhat healthy playing for the Pelicans, but we shall see about that. Devin Booker, 4-year deal, $214 million. Karl-Anthony Towns stays with Minnesota for a 4-year, $224 million. And then the money just gets bigger. And we have a historic contract. It's the largest one ever. So your reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic, he stays in Denver for 5 years, an astounding $264 million. That is the largest contract in NBA history. First, before that was Bradley Beal at the 5 years, $251 to stay with Washington, and then the Nikola Jokic contract deal. Is it outrageously big? Possibly so, but Denver sees that the investment in Jokic is going to is worth the money. In the 5 years, we'll see Denver in the postseason. Do I see them maybe winning a title? I do. Not immediately, not in the first 2 years of this 5-year contract, possibly year 3 or year 4. But again, they got key pieces on there that they got to stay healthy. And I mean, all the teams that I saw making trades and those that are free agency and everything else, I still say the Warriors look like they're going to repeat this again. Now, let me bring this up because of the fact of all of the money that's happening right now and what is overshadowing it, the fact that Kevin Durant wants out of the Brooklyn Nets. He wants out, along with Kyrie Irving. They want out. 33, 34 years old, Kevin Durant can play, has been dealing with injuries as of late, but the 3 destinations possibly for him is the Lakers, the Heat, or the Warriors. Now, more of the talk is happening in the rumor mill that it could possibly land again in the Warriors. Now, Kevin Durant left the Warriors and went on to the Brooklyn Nets. So to come back, reports have been brought out that Clay and Draymond and Steph are aware that possibly if the deal goes through to bring Durant back, that would mean Wiggins, Wiseman, and Poole would probably end up going to the Brooklyn Nets. Poole shouldn't even move whatsoever for the Warriors because he has been a huge factor for them. Obviously, they're holding the trophy. They're getting the rings at the beginning of next season. So why would you want to get rid of Jordan Poole, who is just basically a bright star? Or that you bring on somebody that is in their 30s. You got 3 or 4 of the starters that are in their 30s already well-established, 4-time champions, if you will. Incredible turnaround for Klay Thompson, who's been missing for 2 years with, ACL injuries on both legs and just coming in and contributing what he can. And he's going to be absolutely dangerous in the season coming up. And again, another head scratcher, why this man was not selected in the NBA top 75. Riddle me that. I don't know. I don't understand it. I mean, I understand there's some people in there that don't have titles. Allen Iverson, Reggie Miller, to name a couple that, are deservingly so, that deserve to be in that top 75 that don't have a championship. But for some reason, he's not in there. So, I definitely want to continue, and I always will continue to give my flowers to Klay Thompson because he should have been immediately thought of when they were making this top 75 list. But anyway, moving on back to Kevin Durant. So if that should take place, then they're looking at those possible trades to take those 3, have Brooklyn possibly rebuild with young talent, bring back Kevin Durant, to where you already have an established top 3 guys that I just named, and get another championship, if not 2 more, depending on if they establish this contract for Durant to stay there 1 or 2 years. There's a possibility, but the talks of that has been strong. But I say if you're going to move somebody, I would move Wiseman and I would move of Wiggins. You have a big, you have a powerful forward, keep Poole on the Warriors roster, and and then you have your core team that can definitely make a run. So we'll see how it goes. The concerns that have the media experts concerned about Kevin Durant is that, you know, the drama, the pettiness, kind of like what did one reporter say, that they compared him to like a runaway bride, that he gets right up there and is going to agree to, you know, be with a certain team for a certain amount of time, and then also wants to run away from the team when things don't go his way or things are not happening and so forth. So we'll see how this goes. Again, I'm not taking Kevin Durant out of the picture as far as he can't play in this league, you know, and injuries and so forth that have been mounting up and everything. But he's got to be at peace of where he wants to be at. And so we'll see which team will bite and actually take the deal, but what are they willing to give up? What's the cost it's going to be? I don't see him fitting in Miami, of what they got already established and everything else. I don't see any of that happening. And then you have, you know, on the Warriors side, you have a soon 39-year-old Andre Iguodala, who has not announced retirement. And then you have a soon to be 41-year-old Udonis Haslem, who has not announced retirement on the Miami Heat side. So we'll just see how it goes. You know, again, free agency frenzy. While this episode is happening right now, all kinds of deals are just, you know, being made. So definitely, you know, follow up with your girl on heardthatwithmarisa.com and on Twitter and Instagram. I'll definitely will always be posting on what's happening out there in NBA. So we'll see how that goes. And as far as Kyrie is concerned, you know, he's staying with the Nets for now, but, you know, who knows where that's going to end up or where it's going to be. Best thing that I watched over the weekend, there was a lot happening that was going on. You had WWE that had Money in the Bank that was happening. And while Money in the Bank was going on, the current CEO and president, Stephanie McMahon, who took over the duties for her father, Vince McMahon, while he's being investigated for an affair that he had and monies that were paid to this person that he ended up having an affair with, to keep quiet. There's an investigation going on for that. So he's has stepped back from his duties while his daughter is taken over. And they were at UFC 276 over the weekend. And let me tell you something, this card, I said it on Twitter. That this card was absolutely loaded. It wasn't just the Adesanya fight that was happening. And I said to everybody, do not sleep on the prelims that were happening. I also said too, there was possibly going to be 1, 2, maybe 3 retirements, because the theme of these fights was everybody that was the age of 35 and up. Either it was going to be, if they win, they would go out on top. If they lose, that was it. In some of these fights, you got some legends that were in there that were aged. You had Jessica I, 35 years old, going against an up-and-coming 24-year-old Macy Barber. You had Jim Miller and Cowboy Cerrone, the 38 and the 39-year-old, and that match was about whoever won would have the winningest record in the UFC. And then you had 40-year-old Robbie Lawler that was going against Barberena from the United States. So that whole card was pretty interesting. And then, of course, you know, I always root for my guy, Sugar Sean O'Malley, against Pedro Munhoz, which unfortunately that ended quickly due to O'Malley's unfortunate eye poke to Munhoz's, I think it was his right eye. And then it came, I think the diagnosis came back to where it was a scratch cornea. So that was unfortunate that I had to stop, and it was called a no contest on that fight. And I was really looking forward to it. But the main card, the co-main event, Adesanya and Cannonier, I have to give some credit to Cannonier, because I looked at his record, and I looked at his age, and I just couldn't believe that he is, number one, phenomenal in shape, phenomenal fighting shape, and went to distance with Adesanya, and Adesanya connected very well in his tactical, and he ended up winning by unanimous decision. Cannonier's 38, and that just blew my mind, because it just like I thought, and it was the first time that I had watched him. I thought that he was in maybe late 20s, early 30s. But shout out to that guy. Like here from Texas, I forgot which city. I believe somebody said it was like Dallas area. But 38 years old, went the distance with, the middleweight champion, Israel Adesanya. And that was a, it was all tactical. The people were booing that there was no, kicks or, all this happening, or neither one of them took each other to the mat. That's how strategic both of the corners were, talking to their guys and telling them what they needed to do and everything else. The other co-main event is the one that was just amazing, but I knew going in it was going to be one-sided. But you got to give it to Max Holloway of a warrior that he was. I think it was in the second. It was in the second match or the third one. 1-2, that Alexander Volkanovski, who kept his title, his featherweight championship title belt. It was just one-sided. Volkanovski, I believe he's like 5'6", and then Max Holloway is 5'11". But you can't underestimate the height of these fighters, because if they have the skill and they have the tactics, they'll take on anybody. Doesn't matter if they're the same height. Doesn't matter if they're taller than them by 5, 6, 7 inches. Some of these are really tactical fighters, and Alexander Volkanovski is a tactical fighter. He's absolutely amazing. He looked like he trimmed down some and just gained some muscle. And I mean, he was quicker than the last time that I saw him fight Holloway the first time. And Holloway, I mean, man, let me tell you, like he was a champion. He's a warrior. Fortunately, in the second, I keep calling them quarters, but the second round, he either it was a right fist to his eye or a headbutt, but either one, it got him right above his eye. This deep cut. That man, the cut man in his corner. I mean, how he kept trying to maintain all of this blood coming out of it, like he was just trying to fight through it, and it was getting in his eye and everything else. And Volkanovski was just so tactical throughout, and it lasted, it went the distance and everything. And I thought for a moment that they were going to call the fight, because literally, if you see the parts of this fight, if you happen to watch it on replay, you see it up on the screen. It just gushes of blood just kept coming out of him. But he had no quit in him, and he was making sure that everybody saw that he was a straight, just an absolute warrior throughout the whole entire match. And it was one of my favorites to watch. I absolutely enjoyed it, and it lived up to the hype. It absolutely lived up to the hype. So 276, it was one of the greatest things that I watched. I mean, majority of the fights were absolutely incredible, from a 46 or 45 or 46 second one, which was between Clark and Stolarenko. She did her in a textbook beauty of an armbar.
Watch armbar here. Look, there it is. Look. Right away.
Oh,
Rose Clark didn't recognize. Yes, she's got that.
She's got it. That's it.
There's the tap. Julia Stolarenko.
And you can see her elbow unfortunately disconnected. So, prayers up for Clark. Hopefully that she's not out for a very long time, getting that back together and everything else. And then Jalen Turner is someone that needs to be respected in the UFC. How he handled Riddell quickly in the first round. Very tactical, very quick, very long. I think he is 6'3". Absolutely it was an exciting, quick match that he won very quickly. So I'm looking forward to the next one. It's here in Dallas, so hopefully your girl gets to go to that, because that is Lisa from The Ultimate Fighter right into Pena Nunes 2. My husband and I have a small bet on there. He thinks that Amanda Nunes is going to come out and take that belt back from Juliana Pena. I have Pena again retaining the belt, so we shall see about that. So another thing that I got to be a part of, and I've never ever done this. I've gone to many baseball games from my hometown in my home state of Michigan, but I've never been one here in Texas. And I got to go to a AA affiliate, the Frisco Roughriders. They took on the Corpus Christi Hooks. Frisco Roughriders won 5-0, and it was a great time. It was an absolute great time. It was during almost July 4th weekend. they got to some of the players got to, those that know that I give back to Minnie's Food Pantry. I am an employee there. I love being there. And shout out to Dr. Cheryl Action Jackson and to all the staff there here in Plano, Texas. That gives to that serves the hungry, those that are in need, and you can look them up at minniesfoodpantry.org to volunteer or to donate your monies, or come serve with us and come donate your time. They came and they did a lot of things with us and getting to know the baseball players and the people on that team. And and me, I'm always inquisitive. I'm asking, besides you doing baseball and your passion, your love for baseball, which hopefully, you'll get that opportunity to go up to the major leagues with, the Texas Rangers or wherever it takes you. Why, do you come here, and what does, serving back and giving back to the community mean to you? So I was asking some of the players that, and it was great to hear some of the answers that they had about, it means so much to see what I can do to help out, to, fight against hunger, to, go through many of the food that is the items that are donated, and then, to see what the day-to-day operations that you all do. So, they are an incredible baseball team on the field, but, shout out to the Frisco Roughriders for what they do off of the field, that they care about their community, and, hope that they come by and they serve again. So it was awesome to see them play. And I had an amazing time. I went with the Hubs, and it was our first, mine. I believe he went to one before me. I've not gone to the Texas Rangers game yet, so I need to do that this summer. But it was an incredible time. Frisco Roughriders, like I said, they won 5-0. They trying to remember the young man's name that got a two-shot home run. That was absolutely incredible. And I got the footage up on my Instagram if you want to follow me. Marisa Tigney podcast. I did a reel of all the stuff that went down at the game. It was absolutely incredible. And your girl is traveling again. Like I said, I'm going to Detroit. Cannot wait. I get to see one of my favorite all-time singers. I saw her here when she was here in Texas, and now for the first time since 1995, she's going to be performing in Detroit, and that's Anita Baker, the legend Anita Baker. She just completed her Vegas residency. So now she's going to be performing in Detroit for the first time since 1995. And I cannot wait. I'm going with my incredible niece. We're going to have an amazing time as she sings so many of her classic hits. And, just the evening is going to be spectacular. And shout out to Chance the Rapper, who helped get all of her masters back after so many years of losing the amount of money and all of that and their ownership. She now owns all of them. So that is amazing to see. So her concerts, wherever she has them, has been selling out in minutes, not hours, minutes. The one in Detroit sold out in 18 minutes. So that's how much people really want to see her before she does, decide to shut it down and go into real retirement. This is so difficult to talk about because, again, you have the holidays that just passed, and, many people get together and, your loved ones, and you have, barbecues and, light off fireworks and everything else. And unfortunately, another senseless shooting in Highland Park, Illinois, where 6 people lost their lives. I just want to give all my thoughts to the families, the people that they lost, and the victims and those that were injured. And just, again, when is this going to end? When is this senseless gun violence going to end? You're there with your loved ones, you're spending time with them, and then somebody that is thinking that hate is going to win, which it will never win. It never will. Disrupts the love of what people, want to celebrate with each other, and, celebrate July 4th. And you hear about all of this in the news, and you see it on the news unfold, and it's just unfortunate that it happened again. So I'm sending my condolences and my thoughts out to the people there in Highland Park, Illinois. Please be good to one another, and please take care of one another. Thank you so much for joining me today on my podcast. Thank you for listening on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, and Google. And those that have been watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay in the know of what your girl's going to bring up in future episodes. And as I always end the show, ladies and gentlemen, please take care and stay safe. I'm out of here.